What's up, everybody? Dog 1985. There's levels to this. Quick video for you guys tonight. Every once in a while, I get to the point where I get tired of talking about a topic, and I feel like I gotta make like a definitive video just ending the topic, right? At least from my perspective, and that's what this video is when it comes to the war against Game Pass. So the last few days, Game Pass has been getting attacked because of the recent price hike that Xbox did to Game Pass, which was raising it from mainly it was just Game Pass Ultimate. What they did with Game Pass Ultimate, raising it from $20 a month to $30 a month. 50% price hike increased, and yeah, it's a lot of money. You can legitimately say that Game Pass Ultimate, when you look at it, could be considered expensive now. At $20, I think that was like the perfect price point. I remember when I first got Game Pass Ultimate, I was paying like $15 a month. Really, now looking back, that was a crazy steal. That was insane. And if you want to be realistic, back then people were hating on Game Pass too. So you have to understand that Game Pass was never going to win in this conversation, especially with gamers. It's the one thing that I don't understand why people hate so much when it's not the only option. You see, people don't like when you compare Game Pass to Netflix or Spotify or Hulu or anything like that, because they say that's not the same, that you consume games a lot more actively, where you consume content like Spotify and Netflix more passively, which to me that doesn't make any difference. Then if I'm not actually paying attention and consuming my Netflix while actually paying attention, or listening to my music while actually paying attention, then maybe it should be cheaper than it already is. That doesn't make any sense to me. Just because I'm cleaning while I'm listening to music, or I'm working out while I'm listening to music, doesn't mean that it should be less valuable. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. However, people saying that when you're playing a game, because you're actively engaged in playing the game, it shouldn't be viewed as a subscription service, or viewing those games as renting it is a problem. And again, to me, I don't understand. The time thing doesn't matter either, because people say, well, you spend a lot more times playing games. Well, people spend hours watching series. Like, depending on what your favorite series is, there's different seasons and all types of stuff, and you might pay for Netflix or Hulu and only watch one or two series. Am I lying? Please tell me I'm lying. I'm not, right? So again, that to me doesn't make sense. The other thing about Game Pass, when it comes to renting, I have people in my comment section, and I know this for a fact. I know this for a fact. I have people in my comment section that want to criticize me for renting my games. Yet I'm sure they're renting where they live. I'm sure some of them probably have car leases, or they got a car loan, which means you don't own that car. If you have a loan, you don't own that car. If you bought your house and there's a mortgage on it, you don't own your house. Not yet. Not yet. The bank owns it. So you're paying a monthly fee to be able to utilize that home, to be able to utilize that car. And if you don't believe me that you don't own it, I'll tell you what. Go ahead and stop paying for it. Please go ahead and stop paying for it. And then then tell me what happens. Stop paying for the car loan for the car that you got. Guess what's gonna happen? Not They're gonna take your car, and they won't even give you back the money that you've already paid for it. They're just gonna, like, what are we talking about? People that want to rent versus people that want to buy. Now that's the hierarchy. You're a better person apparently if you buy your stuff versus whether you rent them. What are we doing? We're talking about video games. The war against Game Pass has to end. I've been someone that's been subscribed to Game Pass since the beginning of this generation, and I know there's people that have been subscribed to Game Pass even longer. Game Pass has always been great because it is on a month-to-month basis. There is no yearly subscription that you can get. Man, I saw the video from Linus. What's the dude's name? Linus Tex, whatever. He said that there's a year subscription to Game Pass. These people, stop listening to people that don't know what the heck they're talking about. There's people that are not subscribed to Game Pass that'll talk to you about Game Pass. You know how stupid you gotta be to listen to somebody that's not subscribed to Game Pass talk to you about Game Pass? Like talk to you about the benefits of Game Pass? That makes no sense. That makes no sense. That's like somebody trying to tell you the benefits of going to college and they've never been to college. Like how do you know the level of arrogance you gotta have to talk about something when you don't even use it yourself is wild. It's wild. See, what's good for the geese is good for the gander. When I call the PlayStation 5 Pro a scam, I hope you know I don't have a PlayStation 5 Pro. And I hope that if there's somebody else that does have a PlayStation 5 Pro that is telling you it's a scam, I hope you trust them a lot more. And I ain't even mad at you. If someone that has a PlayStation 5 Pro tells you no, it is worth every penny. It is way better than the base PS5. It is way worth it. If they actually got one, I hope you trust them more than you trust someone that doesn't actually use the product. I would hope so. When I'm telling you that Game Pass Ultimate at $20 a month was definitely a steal when people were saying it wasn't. At $15 a month was definitely a steal when people were saying it wasn't. At $1 when people were making fun of Xbox for selling Game Pass at $1. For Xbox coming at on Walmart on Pop-Tart boxes. Everything that Game Pass got made fun of. Now that Game Pass is $30 a month, what I'm going to tell you is it is still a value to some people depending on how they game, and that can only be determined by you. That's it. That can only be determined by you. But this war against Game Pass for these idiotic reasons, you should own your games. That's stupid. Because you don't really own these games anyways. And what do you own them for? You're going to own these games to sell them later? Is that your plans? Because if that's the case, then you should be buying everything physical. Right? So then you could go ahead and sell them later on. And then if you're buying to own them, to know that you're going to sell them back later, wouldn't that just be renting the game anyways? You see what I'm saying? This doesn't make sense. And then there's other things that you might want to own before you decide to rent that are way more important than games, right? So if you're drawing the line on games versus, again, you got a car loan, that's not your car. That's the bank's car. You got a mortgage, that's not your house. That's the bank's house. Come on, you're renting, that's not your house. You just live there. You're leasing your car, it's not your car. You're just borrowing it. You're paying a monthly fee. You're watching Netflix, Hulu, monthly fee. Game Pass, monthly fee. Is the fee worth it to you? Only you can decide whether or not it's worth it to you. Here's the last thing I'm going to say, the war against Game Pass. Now people are using how many games the average gamer buys a year. Well, here's the deal. If you, my friend, are an average gamer that only buys 2 to 3 games a year, then yeah, Game Pass is probably not for you. You should stay in your casual gaming lane. You are not like us. You're not built from this cloth. You are a cute little casual gamer that games some. As a matter of fact, don't even comment on any of my videos if you only played 3 to 4 games a year. Don't you even do it. If you 3 to 4 games a year, you shouldn't even be watching my channel. Go watch the fake gaming channels. Go watch IGN. Go watch those. The people that are scared to give games bad reviews. Go watch them. Don't watch Doc Dog. No, don't. You shouldn't watch me. I'm too raw for you. 3 to 4 games a year is what you play. If you ever pull that stat to make a point against Game Pass, you're pathetic. 3 to 4 games a year. We're not the same. Then Game Pass is probably not for you. But for me, that since January till now, I've beaten 12 games. I've beaten 12 games. That's on top of the multiplayer games that I play. I've beaten 12 games that have been on Game Pass. Hey, we're not the same, dog. It is what it is. We're not the same. And that's okay. If you're not a real gamer, then maybe Game Pass isn't for you. Now, maybe you are a real gamer and you do play about 12 games like I have, but you bought each and every single one of them. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. You spent whatever amount of money on all those games. You enjoyed them. And now, if you wish, you can go back to play them later. That's good for you. But you wanting me to go back to play these games later is not my thing. But again, this is why Game Pass is still a great value to me. Because if I play a game that I really, really like, and you know what? I got to give credit where credit is due. Shout out to VG Fight School for this one. If I play a game that I really, really like and I play it on Game Pass and I beat it, and let's just say, eventually I want to go back to go ahead and play that game again. Guess what I'll do when that itch comes back for me to play that game again? If it happens to get off of Game Pass, because again, once it's off of Game Pass, it'll be months after it gets off, maybe years before it gets off of Game Pass, right? Months to a year, right? Once it's off of Game Pass, I guarantee you that game I could buy it at a cheaper price. Guarantee it. I'm winning regardless. Winning regardless. The war against Game Pass has to end. If Game Pass is not for you, you need to look at Game Pass the same way that you look at HBO, Cinemax, Disney Plus, Hulu, Netflix. Not every single subscription is going to be for you, but you don't actively go out there and hate on people that have freaking HBO Max and all this other stuff. Come, you don't do that. You don't walk some. Oh, you got HBO Max? Oh, that's stupid, bro. You should just buy whatever movies you want to watch. Yeah, you should buy them because ownership. Oh, you know what? Maybe you shouldn't buy them because when you watch a movie passively. You don't sit there and actually pay attention to the movie. I'm telling you, watch my comments. These are the comments that people leave on my videos. It doesn't make any sense. Like I said, I don't need to be the defender of Xbox. And even I'm gonna tell you right now, today, I don't know why you would pay the $30 a month for Game Pass. Go buy yourself some cards, right? And subscribe to get my man. You understand, right? That even the way I did it is pretty dumb. I bought a year's worth of Game Pass Ultimate cards and used them all right away. So I have 1 year where Game Pass is going to cost me $20 a month essentially. Do you know how much smarter it would have been if I just would have bought, let's say, the year's worth, but only subscribe to Game Pass at a month or 2 months at a time, depending on when I really needed it? Boy, you could learn from my mistake. Do that. Go buy yourself 4 3-month cards of Game Pass and then subscribe to Game Pass 3 months at a time and go from there. And then after 3 months, whenever a game drops, you use them. Whenever you don't need it, and you just save it. That's the smart way to doing it. But again, I don't need to keep defending Game Pass. This is getting ridiculous. People always saying like, "Oh, you're an Xbox show, this and that." No, man. That just, to me, Game Pass just makes sense, and it's been making sense since I bought my Xbox Series X. It's the only thing that makes sense with Xbox. It's the only thing that makes sense with Xbox is Game Pass. And this is the first time where maybe the second thing that I could really critique about Game Pass. The first thing that I will critique about it is, where are all the Activision Blizzard games? I thought this thing was going to be flooded with all those games. Where are all those games? Where every single Call of Duty should be on Game Pass right now. Why is it not? Why is every Call of Duty not on Game Pass? Like, that to me doesn't make any sense. You want more Game Pass subscribers? Drop every single Call of Duty on Game Pass. It just makes sense, but it is what it is. And then the second critique is going to be right now this price hike to $30 a month. I don't know if they needed to do this. That's pretty steep. But again, we'll see. For me, Game Pass, like I said in my previous video, I have a year worth of Game Pass that I bought for $20 a month. I'm going to see if it's worth it. And after that year, if it's not worth it, people are like, yeah, but you're going to lose your whole library. No. I got to experience the games that I got to experience. Again, this is me. It's my personal experience. Once I unsubscribe from Game Pass, anything that I lose from it, I ain't tripping. If there's a game that I really want to buy that I bought on Game Pass, that I played on Game Pass, I'll just buy it on Steam. It's not that big of a deal. DocDog1985, there's levels to this. We out. Peace.